Namah Parvati Pataye Govindanam Sankirtanam.
Namaste everyone. I'm once again very happy to see you all here for the Bhagavatam session. We will start with an invocation. Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivaranam Chadurbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vigno Vashantaye. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaham. Guruve Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidye Sarvavidhyanam Dakshinamurtiye Namaha. Tennaadudiye Periyava Potri Ennattavarkum Yeraiva Potri Sarvajna Sarvavyabi Periyava Charanam Maya Perapparkum Maha Periyava Adi Potri. Janmadhyasya yato anvayat vitarataschaarteshu abhighaswaratam tene brahmahridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejo varimridam yata vinimayo yatra sargo mrisha damna svena sada nirastaguhakam satyam param dhimahi. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yadkripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. In the last session of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, we have seen about Rishabhadeva's Charitram. We have been seeing that Rishabhadeva's Charitram. Rishabhadeva is the son of Nabi. That is, we have been seeing the Periyavas Vamsham now. That is, there are two sons for Swayambhuva Manu, that is Uttanapadan and Periyavas. And Uttanapadan's son is Durvan, and we have seen the Durva Charitram already. And now we are seeing that Periyavas Vamsham. And Rishabhadeva is, Rishabhadeva belongs to Periyavas Vamsham. And he is the son of Nabi and Meru Devi. Actually, Rishabhadeva is the avataram, Mahavishnu's avataram. Rishabhadeva is one of the avatarams of Mahavishnu, incarnation of Mahavishnu. We know that there are 10 avatarams. We are very, very popular. That is, 10 avatarams of Mahavishnus are very, very popular. Like Mascham, Kurmam, Varaham, Vamanam, Vamanam and Balaraman, Raman, Krishna, and Hara. Like all those 10 avatarams are very, very popular. But this Rishabhadeva's avataram, there are so many avatarams. Other avatarams also, Mahavishnu has taken, other avatarams also. And one of the avatarams is Rishabhadeva's avataram. And Rishabhadeva is married to Jayanti. And they were, since he is the form of Vishnu himself, and he got 100 sons. And one of the eldest one is the King Bharatan. Now, one day what happened is Rishabhadeva, he wanted to leave the kingdom and he wanted to go, and he asked all the sons to come there in the courtyard so that he can give some instructions or advise them. So he has been giving so many upadesams or advices to his children. And that's how it was started. Last session we have been seeing that upadesams of Rishabhadevas to their to his sons. That is how one has taken human birth, isn't it? One has taken the human form after so many births. The Jivatma has taken the human form, and this human form, is given by the Lord only not to, waste the time, earning, money and, for material opulences and everything. But it is only for to reunite with the God. That is how this upadesam was being given by Rishabhadeva to his sons. So now he is giving, he is telling that, the world, the world is full of Maya only. The world is full of Maya. It is inclined to attract. The world is such that it will attract your sense organs. But one has to stay in his, mind fixed, like sadhus, to get reunited with the God. So he is giving all the upadesams. So if one wants to get detached, if one wants to get detached from this world, see what this materialistic body. If one wants to get detached from this materialistic body, he has to approach the Mahatmas. That is what we have seen from the next session, previous session. We have seen that, we have to approach Mahangals, we have to approach Mahatmas, sadhus, he has to take the Mahatma or the Mahangal as his guru. And, and he has to have faith in that guru. And he has to take the guru himself as the God. That is how one has to take the Mahatma as his own guru with a lot of faith. And, not only that, he has to give all the desires, and he advises that, he, if one want to become reunited with God, that is the main aim of taking birth in this world. That is, he has to elevate himself and get reunited with the God. For that, he has to tolerate the Dvaitam. Dvaitam means two. That is, Advaitam means one. One with the Paramatma is Advaitam. That is, Paramatma and us, we are the same. But that is different. But we have to talk, but the whole world is full of Dvaitam only. Dvaitam means two. That is, like happiness, sorrow, heat, cold, everything. See, everything he has to believe that, everything that is the happiness or the sorrow, whatever comes in his life, he has to believe that it is due to his karmas. So the karma, each and every karma will give its result. That is, whatever, whatever we get in this birth is due to our karma in the previous birth. So, and he says that you should detest the sense gratification and tolerate the duality of the pleasure and pain, which are like seasonal changes, like, summer and winter. Summer comes and then winter comes, like the seasonal changes, and he has to philosophically inquire about the truth. That is the main thing he has to do. And then, and then he has to undergo all the types of penances, austerities, and, he has to hear all kinds of, this spiritual knowledge from true Mahans. Listen to the discussions, about the Lord, and always, associate himself with the devotees of the Lord, chant about and glorify the Lord's name, and, look upon equally everyone, on the spiritual platform. So, and, you have to give up the enmity. You have to give up the enmity and subdue anger, and, lamentations. See, these are all the things which are given by, advices given by Rishabhadeva to their sons to elevate them into the spiritual platform. That's what he is trying to explain things. These are all the slokams. One by one slokams, I'm giving the meaning of all the slokams now, given by Rishabhadeva in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, he's telling to remove all the enmity and uplift himself. And, and then they have to identify the self with the, if, they should not identify the self with the body and the home, And you have to practice reading the revealed scriptures. So they have to, even if they are practicing this kind of thing, they have to live in a secluded place, talk less. You should not keep talking about so many things, so that everything will enter into the brain, and it will confuse, and then the Maya will start working. If everything is put into the brain, then the Maya will start working. So completely control. One has to completely control your life, your air, your mind and senses. These are the things which Mahangal or Sadhus or Acharyas, they do. They practice this and have full faith in the scriptures, revealed scriptures, the Vedic literatures, and always, observe celibacy also. So perform your prescribed duties. That's what he says. Perform your prescribed duties and avoid unnecessary thoughts. Always, thinking of the Lord, thinking of Lord, acquire knowledge from the right person, right source. Thus, thus kind of, practicing this bhakti, you will patiently and enthusiastically be elevated in knowledge, and will be able to give up all the false ego. So Rishabhadeva, now he said, there are many spiritual masters. But or guru who, but if he is unable to save the disciple, and elevate him, and and if he could not elevate the disciple from the path of birth and death, one who cannot deliver the dependents or the disciples from the path of repeated birth and death, and he should never become the guru, and you should not follow the guru. That's what he says. This is what the Bhagavatam slokam is clearly written. Even though he is a father, even though he is a husband, even though he is a mother or a demigod, if he is not giving us the right path, if he is not showing the right path of how to cross the repeated birth and death, he is not the right guru. Gururna syad swajano na syad pita nasa syad janani nasa syad daivam. So, see, we have many instances in history illustrating this Rishabhadeva's instructions. In Ramayana, take the case of Ramayana, when Bharata realizes that Rama has left the forest, then Bharata went to the forest to ask Rama to come home. He went with all the Ayodhya people there into the forest, and he cries to Rama to return back to the kingdom and take the kingdom back. But Rama said, no, I have to be in this forest, and I have to spend these 14 years in the forest, and I'll be here. At that time, what happened? Vashishta is the guru of Rama and Bharata and everyone there. And Vashishta says that, don't worry, Bharata, you be the king. You rule the kingdom. At one point of time, he says like that. And Bharata became angry. And he said, are you the guru? You are not the guru. You are not teaching me the right thing. So you are not the guru. So he is not taking Vashishta as guru at that moment of time. And Bali Chakravarti also, you can see the Bali Chakravarti. And Bali Chakravarti, he says he is not taking Sukracharya as his guru at one point of time, because he wanted to give Dhanam to Vamana Avataram, but Sukracharya, Sukracharya, he says that, no, this Vamana Murti is not the Vamana Murti as such. He is the Mahavishnu himself. He is tricking you. Don't give Dhanam to Mahavishnu. Don't give Dhanam to this Vamana Murti. But Bali Chakravarti said that, denying dhanam, denying dharma, a guru cannot deny dharma, deny doing dharma. So, but you are saying that I should not give dhanam to a person who asked for that. So you are not the right guru for me. So he denies that. So he denies guru as a guru. Prahaladan, you can say, take the illustration, example of Prahaladan. He doesn't accept his father because his father is not teaching right things, isn't it? So, and then Bharadan, he denies his mother. He rejected his own, Bharata rejected his own mother. So, and the wives of Brahmanas, you can say, the wives of, Brahmanas in the Gokulam, they rejected him. They rejected the husbands and approached Krishna. They approach Krishna. That's how the Rishabhadeva said, whomsoever who cannot take charge to release the dependents or disciples from the repeated birth and death, what happened? He even though he is a father, even though he is a father, is not a father. Even though he is a mother, he is not a mother. And even though he is a guru, he is not the guru. And even though he is the husband, he is not the husband. That's what he says, Rishabhadeva says. So everyone should be, every guru, that is, every guru should take the responsibility and, they should take charge of the disciples, just as the Acharya takes charge of the disciple, or a father takes charge of the son. So all the responsibilities, all the responsibilities can be discharged honestly, unless one can save the dependents, from repeated birth and death. That is how, a guru should be. Guru has to, release us. Guru has the power, all power. So he has to do this. Then the Rishabhadeva, the next slokam, Rishabhadeva told how to worship many demigods, and told there is only one supreme God, and that is me. He is now pointing. Till now Rishabhadeva was telling about how one has to be, and now he is talking in a direct speech, like he even said that there is only one God who is superior to all the gods, and those are Veda Brahmanas. No one is equal or superior to the Brahmanan in this world. So I do not find, he said, I do not find any comparable to the Veda Brahmanas. That is a true qualified Brahmana. So when people know my motive after performing rituals according to that Vedic principle, they offer food to me with faith and love through the mouth of a Brahmana. When food is thus offered unto me, I eat it, and with full satisfaction. Indeed, I desire more pleasure. I desire more pleasure from food offered in this way, that is giving to the Brahmanas, from this way, than the food offered in the sacrificial fire. That is how Rishabhadeva said. So now here the Rishabhadeva addresses himself as like me, I, and shows that he is the Supreme Lord. He is the God himself. That is how he shows now he is pointing, he is addressing in that way. Now what happened is, he says that the shariram of the Veda Brahmana, are more lovable to me. I like them very much. The Vedas are my eternal transcendental sound incarnation. That is, the Vedas are, Shabda Brahmam. In this world, the Brahmanas thoroughly study all the Vedas. And because they assimilate, the Vedas, conclusions, they are also to be considered as Vedas personified. Vedas personified. So the Brahmanas are situated in the supreme transcendental mode of nature. That is what I can, in the simpler form, I can say that, he says that he is in the Sattva Gunam. Sattva Gunam means because of this, their mind are fixed. Fixed means mind is under the control. That is Sama, sense control, Dhamma, and truthfulness, Satyam. So they describe the Vedas in their original sense. Because of this, they can describe the Vedas in the original sense. And out of mercy and out of anugraham only, out of mercy means anugraham, they speak the purpose of Vedas to us, all, to us, because, they have practiced that penance also. Penance means tapasya and tolerance. And they realize the position of the living entity, and they realize, the anubhavam. They have the anubhavam of uniting themselves to the Lord, to the Supreme. So, see, these are all the qualifications. These are all the things, philosophical things said by Rishabhadeva to all their sons, all his sons. And he also, there are 8 qualifications of Brahmanas, and Rishabhadeva explains the importance of Bhagavan also. Bhagavan and the Brahman and Bhagavan and everything. And he said, my dear sons, you should see Bhagavan, you should see the Paramatma in all the living entities, all the living entity, be it a moving or non-moving. You should see all the Paramatma inside that, because I am there. I am situated in them. And you should offer respect to all of them. And at every moment you should respect and equally all of them. So that's all said, Lord Rishabhadeva left the kingdom to the forest, and like a Siddha Purushal, like a Siddha Purushal and Avatudal. And then he practiced penance and everything, and he became Siddha Purushal, and he went to Vaikuntha. And after that, King Bharata, the eldest one, the eldest son of Rishabhadeva is Bharatan, isn't it? So this eldest son Bharata, he was enthroned in the royal seat. So Bharata, the king Bharata ruled for lack of years. And what happened is, the Maharaja Bharata, one day he felt very, he felt that he has to leave the family and he has to go and do tapas. So he retired, and he retired from the family life, leaving all the luxurious material Ashta Aishwaryam and all. He gave it to his sons and left the palace and went to Pulahashrama. That is, he went to the banks of Rishadwati river. That is near Nepal. Where there's Saligram, Saligram Sila are available there, and it's all obtainable there. So he went there. This King Bharata, this Maharaja Bharata went there, and he got one Gopala Vigraham, like Krishna Vigraham. He went there with that Vigraham, and he started doing puja there. He was constantly, he constantly engaged himself in doing puja to the Lord, doing that all, doing Abhishekam, Aradhane, Archane, and knowing the meaning of the Archane, and knowing the, name of the Lord, meaning of the name of the Lord, and doing that Archane. And so naturally what happened, his love for Gopala, his love for the Lord, increased. So more and more the love of the Lord increased, and and melted his heart. Consequently, he gradually, what happened, he lost all the attachments for the anushtanams, that is the regulatory duties, regulative duties, daily duties. he lost all the attachments to herself because he was totally absorbed. He was totally absorbed in doing puja to the Lord Krishna. So he got goosebumps. That is what happens is his hair, the hairs of the body stood on end. Stood on end, and all the ecstatic bodily symptoms were manifest. Tears flowed from his eyes, so much so that he couldn't see anything. That is, he even forget his regular duties or regular service to the Lord, even to the service to the Lord, thinking, oh God, you are the strength of Bhishma. You are the very great strength of Vidura. How you worked for Vidura. How you worked, how you gave, Gita upadesam to Uddhava. How you are a friend for Uddhava. And how you got Bhishma into Vaikuntha. So he was thinking all along, he used to think about that, and he never used to do the regulative duties also. So he forgot about himself. He will have the tulasi in his hand. He will be having tulasi, and he will not do archana. He will keep the tulasi in his hand. That's all. And he used to think about the glories of Lord Krishna. And he is fully absorbed. He is fully absorbed in Lord Krishna. That's how he was. So he resided near Saraswati river and did that Pranava Jabam always, continuously. In those days, Anantarama Dikshadar, he used to tell Bhagavatam, and in his, in his Bhagavatam, he told that all the kings, after ruling for so many years, leave the kingdom, ignoring, all the luxuries, all the material things, all the fancy things. And he told that if one does 12,000 avritis, it may take 3 hours of time. That's how he told. What happens is he will forget his house, he'll forget his own town, that is city, or even himself. He will forget about that. So this was told by Anantarama Dikshadar. In those days, yatis, that is sannyasis, used to live like that, doing this Pranava. Always this King Bharata also used to do all these things in the morning. So one day what happened? One day he was doing this japam. He was doing this japam in the morning. At that time, what happened? In the river, in the canal or the river, near that Saraswati river, he was doing this japam there. And at that time, what happened? A pregnant deer. That way, it came that way. It was very thirsty. It was, it wanted to drink water. And so it came. The dove means the deer. It came that way and started drinking water. And at that time, there was a, lion. It heard a lion roaring. A lion roared, very loudly it roared. This was frightful even for every living creatures. That is that kind of tumultuous, tumultuous roaring. It was. This deer was naturally itself, this deer was coward, isn't it? So by nature, the deer was always, afraid of being killed by other animals. And it was looking here and there, and was drinking water. At that time, the lion roared, and it became very agitated. The deer became very agitated and looking here and there with the disturbed eyes. What happened? The deer, it was afraid, isn't it? So it started jumping to the other banks of the river because it was totally afraid. The doe was pregnant, and what happened? What happened was, when it jumped out of fear, the baby deer fell from its womb into the water, into that flowing water of the river. So what happened is, being distressed by the miscarriage, the deer, the mother deer, what happened is the mother deer fell down and died immediately. Here, what happened is the baby deer is there, and this king, the great king Maharaja Bharata, isn't it? He was sitting on the bank of the river seeing all this happening. The lion roaring, and mother deer was, fell down dead, and this baby deer is there. He felt great compassion. He lifted the infant deer, and knowing it is a motherless deer, isn't it? It's a motherless, he brought into his ashram. See, this is called the prarabdha karma. Prarabdham, it will catch us. Somehow or the other, it will catch. Even though he is a great Jada Bharata, Bharata, King Bharata, he left the whole palace, he left his kingdom, he left his wife, he left his children to do, service to the Lord only. He came here to the Pulahashrama to do penance to the Lord. But what happened, see, this Maya, this prarabdham will come. So what happened is, it will catch us. Somehow or the other, it will catch. This prarabdham will catch. So gradually what happened? He forgot to worship the Lord, to worship Krishna. And in spite, he became so affectionate towards the deer. What happened is, he began to raise it, maintain it, by giving the deer grass and everything. That is, he started, palana, poshana, kridana, everything he was doing. He was always, careful to protect it, because it's so baby deer, so he wants to protect it from the, from other animals like, tigers or lions. And in this way, he always tried to keep it in a very, comfortable conditions. He even sometimes kiss it, and of love, being very attached to, raising the deer, King Bharata, forgot even to do the puja to the Lord. So what happened? The whole Laksharchane, the whole Koti Japam he was doing, he was always absorbed in the Lord. Once he was always absorbed in the Lord. He was doing Koti Japam or Laksharchane. Now it has become Ashtotram. That is, he has to finish it off, because he has to look after the deer. The infant deer is waiting for him, isn't it? So he wanted to help, as he thought that the helpless deer has taken shelter with me. How can I ignore? How can I neglect it? But he becomes so attached to the deer. A spiritually elated person, will become naturally compassionate with others, but they don't become attached. That is the difference. There lies the difference. They become compassionate, but they don't become attached. So if we give up our own spiritual activities, if we give up our own spiritual activities and simply become concerned with the bodily comforts of others, we will fall in this dangerous position. That is, Maya is very, very strong. It's very strong. So you can say that in the name of philanthropy, altruism and communism, people are feeling compassionate of suffering people, suffering humanity, throughout the world. Philanthropists, and this altruist people, they do not realize that it is impossible. They are doing so many things, but they don't realize that it is impossible for them, to improve the people's material condition. See, material conditions are already established by the superior Lord, according to one's karma. So they cannot be changed. The only benefit we can render to suffering beings is to try to raise them to the spiritual consciousness. Here the King Bharata, what happened here? King Bharata took care, he took care of the deer. Day and night he took care of the deer. One day, so he was raising the deer. He was raising the baby deer. One day what happened? The death has to come, isn't it? So at the time of death, the king, who was very much attached to this deer, he was falling there, he was sleeping. That is, his eyes are about to close. And he's approaching the death. And this deer, even though it's an animal, it understood that our master is going somewhere. He's now going to leave his body. So it's crying. That the deer was standing near Bharata, King Bharata, and it's crying. And King Bharata, he always he always took care of the infant deer, isn't it? So his material body, he was thinking of the deer at the time of his death. And what happens is his material body, of the deer he was thinking, and so he acquired the body of a deer in the next birth. That's what is said in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. Whomsoever who thinks at the time of the death, whomsoever who thinks of whatever they think, they become that. That is what is said by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So, however, he was but even though he gets the body of a deer in the next birth, although he lost the human body and received the body of the deer, because he is a Bhakta, Maharaja Bharata is not an ordinary fellow like us, isn't it? So he acquired the the knowledge, or he acquired. He was a great Bhakta and he received them, but he did not forget the incidents. He did not forget the incidents of his past life. So this Bharata Maharaja, he began to lament. He began to lament in the body of the deer about his misfortune. He has to get united with the Lord, but he lost that. Because he was thinking of the deer and he got the body of the deer, and that is his misfortune. So he gave up his real sons, he gave up his wife, home, and to advance in the spiritual life. See, that is why he came to this solitary, holy place in the forest. He became self-control, he became self-realized, and he was engaging, he engaged constantly in the devotional service, hearing, thinking, chanting, worshipping, and remembering the glories of Lord Vasudeva, means Lord Krishna. So, but due to the foolishness of the mind, he became attached to this deer. And at the time of the death, he thought about the deer, and so he took the body of the deer. So, but even though he took the body of the deer, he came to this Pulahashrama again. As a deer, in the body of the deer, he came to the Pulahashrama again, and to hear the glories of Krishna, by all the sages and from all the Mahans. The Mahans in the sages, sitting near that river, Pulahashrama, they were all surprised. They were all surprised to see the deer coming and standing in the middle of in the mid of the river, and it was all hearing the glories of this Bhagavan, Paramatma. One day what happened? The deer shouted, Hare Narayana, before leaving its body. Everyone was surprised to see, this deer, perhaps it would have been some Mahan only. That's why it left the body, it left the body of the deer and took birth as a Brahmana in the next birth. So we'll see the Jada Bharata Charitram in the next session. So thus King Bharata became Jada Bharata. King Bharata went to the forest, did penance and everything, but still he could not, get reunited or elevate himself due to this Maya. But now, what happened is he gets the body of a deer now, and he left the deer's body, and now he is going to get, he took birth as a Brahmana. And the next Janmam as a Jada Bharata. So we'll see the Jada Bharata's Charitram in the next session. So we'll conclude this session here, okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.